In this video, I want to walk through some of the different ways that you can use your collaborative customer-facing Arrows plan together with the integration with HubSpot to streamline the customer experience and make it much, much easier to provide a personalized experience to your customers. So I'm in a template here in Arrows. We have a few phases that we could use at the end of the sales process into the sort of transition, the handoff into the onboarding process. And we're going to talk through some of the specific things that I have in here with Arrows tasks, but also the integration with HubSpot to make things really easy. So the first thing we have this, let's make it official phase. We have signing your contract task. We have scheduling your kickoff call task. And one thing to call out here, we want these tasks to happen really, really quickly, right? We want to get that signed contract and the kickoff call booked in quick succession so that we can build momentum with the customer and start making progress. One thing to note here, when you're using a meeting task in Arrows, we have a specific task type for that. You can select the calendar booking tools that you're using. In this case, we're using HubSpot. There's also some other options here as well for the ways that you can get folks to book meetings. And the really nice thing about doing that is that you'll be able to automatically complete the task in Arrows when somebody books that call. So there's no sort of double entry for the customer. And you'll see here, we're also passing in the calendar URL that we're going to use dynamically based on the person who is owning this plan on our internal team. So that's one thing. The next thing that we're going to do is in this getting started phase, we're going to talk through a couple of different ways to use some of the more sort of powerful and advanced features in the HubSpot integration with Arrows to really personalize the customer experience and try to remove some of the double work or the work that doesn't necessarily always feel relevant to every single customer. So the first thing that we're going to do is ask them to describe their current onboarding process. This may be a pretty common type of task that you have, asking for some information about the current state of things with your customer. And we're going to sync that directly into a deal property, in this case, customer process documentation. This is just a text field in HubSpot that we can sync in from the form response with the Arrows integration. The next thing we're asking them to do, and this is where we're going to start talking a little bit about personalization, is asking to authenticate Arrows in HubSpot. So this is essentially creating the Arrows account. You may also have this challenge before you close a sale if you have both a free path to sign up and also a more hands-on one-to-one sales experience as well. So we're going to ask them to create their account, and then we're going to ask them about their plans for how they're going to run onboarding in their CRM. Are they going to be using HubSpot Deals or tickets? Again, we can connect that form response to a HubSpot property, and this time Arrows is going to recognize the type of form field or the type of property that we have in HubSpot and give only the available options. So here we have deals, tickets, or custom objects. And then we can, of course, use that information later in the plan to customize that experience for the customer. We can give them specific resources for integrating with deals, specific resources for integrating with tickets, and so on. But the first thing that I want to call out in terms of how we're actually going to use this form information inside of the plan, or information that we know inside of HubSpot, inside of the Arrows plan, is in this next task for start creating your first plan template. So this is a task that they're going to go ahead and complete inside of the Arrows product. But the thing that we want to make sure is that we're only putting this task in front of them if they actually have the ability to go and do that, right? They may not have created that Arrows account at this point. And this is what I mean, especially if you have sort of multiple paths into becoming a customer. Not everybody who's in your sales process will necessarily have an account that they can access themselves. So in the task itself, we can check using this conditional visibility option here to only show this task when app ID, which is a property in our HubSpot account, is known. This is synced in. We're doing this via HighTouch from our app database, but there are other ways as well. It could be manually updated in your HubSpot account. But the point being, if we know something about a customer in our sort of source of truth in the CRM, we can use that information to personalize the experience inside of that Arrows plan. And in this case, it's totally okay if they don't do this task now, because the next thing is going to be the onboarding kickoff call. They can just go ahead and start working on that template creation process in the next phase. So all these following phases are going to come after the kickoff call, but we want to try to make this process before they talk to us one-on-one in onboarding as smooth and as streamlined as possible. And we can do that by combining some of Arrow's integration features with the data that we already have in HubSpot. Hopefully this is helpful. I would love to hear what you think.